Hello guys and welcome to Unconventional Deck Builds with Izdaisho. And today we're going to be trying a new version of Unquenchable Fire. And I'm really not sure if this is the best build. I mean, actually I'm 100% sure that this is not anywhere near as good as the other build. And I don't think it's anywhere near as good as the other two unconventional deck builds that I did. But what I tried to do, which I thought would work originally, but turns out it really doesn't work that well, is make a deck built on attacking rather than just burning. And they gave us some support for this in the here we go, double Final Fortune, which basically allows you to attack for 2 turns straight, as well as all these Fire Shriekers, which basically are the equivalent of your creatures attacking twice. And then finally this Relentless Assault, which also lets your creatures attack twice. So they had this little sub theme in there that was based around your creatures attacking a couple of times, and I am not really sure if it's good enough. I think that they just don't have enough evasive creatures. So if I could replace like these Arsonists and these Crimson Mages and perhaps even this Firewalker, maybe even these Kiln Fiends, since they're not that good in this version of the deck. There aren't that many instants and sorceries that I can play. But if they replace all those cards with some, actually, like, there are so few instants and sorceries to trigger these Kiln Fiends. Like Torch Fiend might even be better. But yeah, so the thing is, like, it needs a couple more evasive creatures. So, like, the Flyers are really good. Pilgrim's Eye is actually, I think, sort of playable because you can strap on like a Fire Shrieker or something like that and make it attack twice. Oh yeah, there was another card that they did include under that sub theme that I ended up taking out, which is Furnace of Wrath, just because this card is going to kill you so many more times that it's ever going to help you. I don't know why this card they felt that it needed to work both ways. I think that if it was just one-sided, I don't think it would be broken. Maybe it would be. I don't really know. But anyway, here's the deck list. I mean, we got the Grim Lavamancers in there. They're still really good, and they can attack sometimes, but generally they're just going to be picking your opponent's dudes off. Goblin Arsonist, just a regular dude. Pretty good against, like, humans and Avacyn's Glory kind of deck. But yeah, here's Disintegrate, which I actually took out since I have less lands. I only have 22 land, but I do have 3 Pilgrim's Eye. But then I had to put him back in because I really needed some more burn. A couple of Pillars of Flame and a Flame Slash, just really important to make the deck run. These Crimson Mages are not terrible. I mean, they're basically just 2 power attacking guys in the deck, and then occasionally they can get haste themselves or give something else haste. So that's pretty nice when it works out that way. It's kind of a non-bow with Stormblood Berserker, but this card's really sweet if you can actually, like, get an Arsonist on turn 1. Then you can assuredly get a damage through somehow to get your Stormblood Berserker on 2, and then you've got quite the army. So Slith Firewalker is actually pretty decent in this deck, especially if you can give it a Fire Shrieker, because it gets 2 counters that way, 2 counters per turn. And then if you're attacking multiple times before, like if they're tapped out, then you can actually kill them and surprise them that way. Kiln Fiend is really bad in this version of the deck. I don't know, there's maybe like 12 instants or sorceries that you can actually play to affect it, but yeah, I mean, like, sometimes you're just gonna, like, this is the only time that I can see that you would want to use Final Fortune at instant speed. After they don't declare blockers, you Final Fortune, give your Kiln Fiend +3/+0. So the reason why Kiln Fiend is still in the deck is because if you manage to get a Fire Shrieker on it and you can cast an instant or sorcery, they are just completely screwed, and it's pretty funny when that happens. Anyway, Searing Spear is pretty good. I had so much trouble with either flooding or not drawing enough lands that I decided to toss a Wild Guess back in, and plus it is another sorcery for Kiln Fiend, so that's pretty good. I have 3 of these Pilgrim's Eyes in there. They're evasive dudes. They're only 1/1s, which really sucks, but the damage sometimes adds up, and at the very least they can fetch me a mountain. So, I mean, and chump blocks, so they're not the worst thing ever created. Chandra's Phoenix is really sweet in the deck. Like, I wish that there were, like, 4 Chandra's Phoenixes, and I don't know. That's what I want. That's what I want this deck to be. This is really, like, what I thought the deck would be, ideally, but it hasn't been working out. We'll see. I mean, maybe I can get some good wins off it. I played probably like 15-20 games, and I've won maybe about half of them, I don't know, but it just is not working as consistently as I would have liked. Here's Chandra's Spitfire, which is obviously still really good, and the +3/+0 thing is insane with Fire Shrieker, as well as it is on Kiln Fiend. Regathan Firecat is really good in this build, just because you're trying to get rid of all their creatures or make sure that they attack you and they're tapped out or something like that, and then all of a sudden you hit them with this thing like twice or 3 times, and then they just start crying and realize that they're dead because they got Firecatted. Again, I've been talking about Fire Shrieker forever. It just gives you guys double strike. Couple of Flames of the Firebrand. This card is really good against the top 2 decks, and still pretty good against Deadwalkers, which is another one of the top decks. Firewing Phoenix is pretty sweet. I wish there were a couple more of these, as well as the Chandra's Phoenix, just because these the high power flyers are really good in this deck. So yeah. Cyclops Gladiator. I actually don't think I've cast this guy yet, but I feel like he should be good. I don't see why not. I mean, he can attack and kill something. He's a 4/4. A lot of the time he'll be trading, but at the very least he does get something off the board. And sometimes he can just like hold a Fire Shrieker, and then pretty sweet. I don't know. Chandra's Outrage is just too good to leave. And look at this picture. I mean, Chandra is killing a dragon with fire. Doesn't that seem like it wouldn't work? Like if you threw fire at a dragon, why would it die? I don't know. And then there's Relentless Assault, which is pretty much just like the whole point of this deck. But I mean, I left out some pretty good cards like Sulfuric Vortex, which just doesn't really work with the deck. And then there's like Seismic Assault, Flame Break. Obviously all good cards, but just don't work. Reverberate is fine, but there aren't that many instants and sorceries in the deck. I left one Arsonist in the board. Let's see. I also left like Magma Phoenix because it was a 5-drop and I'm only running 22 lands. I do have the Pilgrim's Eyes, but you know, it's not that good. Fire Elemental, Fire Servant, and then like the Cone of Flame, Lava Axes, and of course Inferno Titan, and all these other high drops, which are pretty good, but don't really work for the deck. So let's go ahead and find ourselves a match. First try. Doesn't look like we got it. All checks, guys. The worst. I hate it when I mean, I've mentioned this many a time, but you know, like I don't see why they can't have. I mean, I guess they have like quick match, but does that even work? Like I've actually never tried that. Maybe I should just try that. See if that works, because what I want to do is I just want to say, all right, just put me in any 1v1 game. That would be like fine. You know what? Let's solve this once and for all. What happens if I just say quick match and I say free for all? It might put me in like a 2 or 3 player game, right? And it looks like it's not even that much quicker. I mean, I bet quick match is the reason why it takes so long to join the other things. I don't know. We'll find out in just a moment. Momentarily. Just a momentarily. Alright, actually, that worked. Maybe I'll do that in the future. Unless this guy's not around, in which case, doesn't even matter. Alright, let's do this. I'm out. Alright, let's go multiplayer, create multiplayer, like, yeah. Anyway, multiplayer, create match. Sit around, waiting for 12 to 13 minutes. Maybe a hint of 14. Oh, well, that was pretty quick. Wish I had just done this originally. Yeah, blah blah blah. All right, so let's destroy some people with our super awesome build of. Ooh, this is a pretty sexy hand. I have 3 lands, which is really all I need. I'll probably get a Pilgrim's Eye eventually. My opponent's playing zombies, and he's got a Gravecrawler on turn 1, which sucks because he's gonna play like either of his 2 drops are really good against my start. Of Slith Firewalker on turn 2, so hopefully he doesn't have a 2-drop. I can get my Slith Firewalker up to a 2/2, and then he doesn't get killed by Black Cat or Butcher Ghoul, both of which are like insane against Slith Firewalker. There's a quest for the Gravelord, perfect, and another Gravecrawler. Yeah, I mean, he gets to attack me for 2, which is not necessarily good because this deck can easily outrace me. Like, that's something that this deck usually doesn't have a problem with, which is just outracing people in the early game. It's usually like they play a stabilizing play that you can't play with play. They make a stabilizing play that you can't really deal with, and that's usually what the issue is. But This matchup is more of they can actually race you, and you can't really do much about it unless you draw your Pillar of Flames or Disintegrates, which I have neither of in my hand currently. So my Firewalker is going to get a little bit bigger. And ideally, my opponent will play something like a Lord, and I can just Flame Slash it. And draw a 2-drop? Maybe? I don't know. Because, yeah, maybe I won't Flame Slash it. Maybe I'll just play a Chandra's Phoenix and attack in with both my guys. I don't know, maybe I'll just play a Fire Shrieker and pass. Like, there's so many different things. But, like, if he does play a Lord here, I do expect him to just trade. Because the Lord, while the Lords are good, Lord of the Undead or Death Baron, they don't really necessarily win them the game unless they have a whole bunch of other zombies out. If you just got another Gravecrawler, it might be worth just trading off, getting a threat off the board for me, and 2 counters on his quest. Vampiric Tutor. That's an interesting one. He might have to just go get a swamp, but I'm not exactly sure why he would be doing it main phase. Seems like there's really no point to doing that. You know what I want to do? I want to have somebody cast Vampiric Tutor against me when I'm playing Massive Dimir, and then I just want to Thought Scour it. That would be insane. Alright, so he didn't have something there for me, so that's really good. I'm a little bit tempted to just go Fire Shrieker, equip, and then equip next turn, but that's so much less mana efficient, because I'll have 2 extra mana left over next turn. So instead, I'm just going to play the Chandra Phoenix, and then that gives me a couple of options next turn, because next turn I can either play Fire Shrieker and Flame Slash, or I can just play Firewing Phoenix, and then basically I can get the cards from my hand onto the table faster, and not really in a way that is too much of a detriment to me. So now my Firewalker is up to a 3/3, and if I can just get this Fire Shrieker on it, then I'm actually going to be in very good shape. Alright, so I think he really did just Vampiric Tutor for a swamp, but that being said, I don't know why he didn't wait until my end step, because then he could have done it much more successfully if he had waited. He could have faked a Doomblade, and then that might have altered my decision. I don't think it would have in the end, but you never know what I'm going to be doing. Alright, so he has 3 mana up here. There's a Spitfire. There's no point in playing anything pre-combat here. Spitfire is not really going to be doing much for me. Alright, so he's got the Doomblade for the Firewalker, but he's still going to be taking 3 here. He's got a counter on his quest. Alright, so now let's try and work some math. If we draw a land, we can definitely kill next turn if we play the Firewing Phoenix. And I don't really see any reason to play anything else. Like, if I just play the Fire Shrieker and then next turn equip, then I'm only going to be hitting him for 5, and that's not really worth it. So, I mean, I think even if I don't draw land, then playing the Firewing Phoenix here is a better play. What I could do, actually, is I technically could have lethal next turn. If he doesn't block the Goblin Arsonist and goes to 1, then I can Flame Slash it myself and then kill him. That'd be pretty sweet. But that's unlikely to happen. But we'll find out soon. Next week on Dragon Ball Z. Alright, so again, he's just going to keep beating in, and that Gravecrawler is just poked at me for the entire game, and I'm actually down to 12, so, I mean, it's pretty relevant to watch my life total in these kind of games. Fortunately, my opponent really stumbled off the start, and he's got a Fleshbag Marauder. Ugh. Okay. That does mean that I win the game if he draws a land. Like, it also means that he's got his quest. So he's gonna have a 5/5 being able to beat in. So hopefully we'll draw that land, and then we'll just have the game, since there's no wait, that works too. I was like, oh man, now I can't win the game. Oh wait, I can just use my burn spell that I just drew to kill him. So I think that was a really good play on my opponent's part, but just missing a couple of land drops was pretty detrimental to him. Did I miss one? I can't even remember. I don't think I did. I think that did I just kill him on turn 5? I think I may have just killed him on turn 5. Yeah. Alright, so, I mean, that was pretty impressive. Even though he did stumble a little bit, like, you can't say that made my deck bad. He'd have to Vampiric Tutor to deal 2 damage to himself just to find a swamp. But I mean, the thing is that Vampiric Tutor, like, that's why it's not so good, because he may have had a swamp on the top of his deck anyway. It may have literally done nothing. Alright, this hand's pretty sweet. I've got a wild guess for later on. If he's still playing the zombie deck, then I can Pillar of Flame it. And I've got this Crimson Mage. Can come down. Alright, so he's not playing that deck anymore, which is a little annoying that he switched up on me, but, you know, happens. I'm not really sure what I'm going to wild guess away. I suppose it really depends, but for now, I'm planning on just playing Crimson Mage into Firecat. I suppose if I draw a useless card and he plays a thing that I want to kill, yeah, that's definitely a thing that I want to kill. Against Guardians of Light, it's really important to just kill anything that they play. Alright, so I drew another land, which means that this thing is going to get Pillar of Flamed. And while I do kind of want to cast Cyclops Gladiator next turn, with the land in my hand, it's way more worth it for me to discard one, since I'll have 3 draws between now and then to get another land. See, I did get another land with that. So, and I don't want 5. So discarding a land there is a little bit risky, even because I really want to play the Gladiator next turn. But at the same time, it's probably the right play. Although, I mean, if he doesn't play anything, it may just be Firecat this turn. Or, like, if he just plays something like that. Which, again, I really want it dead. But, like, he might have Armored Ascension. Alright, so since I drew another land, it's definitely going to be Firecat and Haste. And if he trades with my Crimson Mage, that's fine. So even though I won't be able to give haste to my Cyclops Gladiator next turn, it'll still be fine, because then that means that he won't have a creature. And I'll be beating him down with a Regathan Firecat. I have a feeling that this trade is going to happen, but at the same time, I really don't know, because I don't have his hand. I don't have access to what's in his hand. So he's just going to take it, which could be really good or really bad for me. Because I think that Cyclops Gladiator's ability, you may have. Okay, so that's not so bad. But I fully expect an Armored Ascension here. Yeah. So that's now a 6/6, which hopefully will attack me, but I strongly doubt it. Yeah. Not really much I could have done about that. I don't think. So, like, I could play this Cyclops Gladiator. No, that's not gonna work. Yeah, I need to draw another burn spell. Relentless Assault was not a terrible draw. I think I'll play this Gladiator out, but I'm not gonna attack. Do I attack? Just to push through 6 damage? No, I don't think so. Because this is when it attacks, unfortunately. Yeah, just a big dude is really hard for this red deck to deal with. Even with a powerful card like Cyclops Gladiator, which I can just use to kill the Mesa Enchantress. Oh god. That's so good for him. Lifelink. Now he can definitely attack me and not be too worried about dying. But if he does that, I think I actually kill him. Yeah. Damn, that land draw is completely unnecessary. And now he gets another turn. Maybe I actually just have to sacrifice the Gladiator to kill the Enchantress? No, I do not have to do that at all. No, we're not going to do anything here. Maybe I should have played the land out. Probably not. It doesn't really matter. Yeah, that wild guess, it got rid of 1 land, but see, like, this is an issue that I've been having. I'm just drawing so many lands in this deck. I don't even understand how it's possible. He's got another swamp and a Sarah's Boon, which he's going to put on his, oh god, Core Spirit Dancer. It's going to make it a 3/6. Dear god. He might attack now. And if he does, I actually think that I'm in pretty good shape. at least in terms of killing both of his dudes, because what I can do is I can kill the Mason Enchantress the first time. He's going to block and kill the Regathan Firecat, and then I can attack again with my Cyclops Gladiator. Yeah, he's just... Flames of the Firebrand. Oh, how one turn too late you are. I'm still going to cast it. Actually, I can kill his Mythmaker here. So... I mean, I'm definitely just going to 2-for-1 myself to do that. The question is... Yeah, I definitely do it before combat, because then I can get in with this thing. I just deal 3 damage to it. Oh, well, I guess I can get in for 1 damage with my flyer, which is not too great. And then none of my other dudes can profitably attack. And he gains 7 life. And he's still got his 2 Enchantresses out. I no longer have my Gladiator, which would have really helped. But yeah, I mean, that thing would have been great the turn before. But, alas, we are where we are. And, I mean, while I'm in a bad spot, it's not an unwinnable spot. Like, I did just 2 for 3, so I ended up up a card. Oh, God, double strike and lifelink? That's not fair. Not fair at all. Yeah, I mean, like, I don't see any way that I kill this Core Spirit Dancer. It would be so hard for me to come back from this. Double strike and lifelink. Chandra's Outrage. Yeah, I guess so. Get to hit him for another 4, but again, he's got double strike and lifelink. Like, I guess if he doesn't really attack me, and I get like a Searing Spear off to his face, then that's gonna be 3. No, that's still not enough. Because like a Searing Spear plus Relentless Assault is a lot of damage. Admonition Angel, dear God, this guy is just dropping bombs here. 6/6 flying double strike lifelink. Whenever you play something, destroy your opponent psychologically and mentally and physiologically. Alright. Yeah, I'm pretty ready to give up on this one. My opponent just has such good control of the board that there's really nothing that I can do to come back. I was pretty close to just straight up winning the game early on when I had this Cyclops Gladiator out, but then he was able to just stabilize with the Armored Ascension. And from there really wasn't much that I could do. Oh, hey look, you got a land and you get to kill my guy. Forever, until this thing dies. Yeah, this card is so powerful. But, I mean, generally, I still don't think it's worth playing most of the time, because it's cost so much mana. Like, it costs 6. In this format, like, just look at the last game, for example. I had a good draw, and my opponent even interacted with me a little bit. He killed my Slith Firewalker, and I was still able to kill him in 5 turns. And this version of the deck isn't even the best version of this deck, which is like an average to mediocre deck. So, I mean, while my opponent didn't put up that much resistance, it could have been more. Alright, I'm just going to concede because there's no way for me to win and my opponent just isn't killing me, because he actually had lethal on board last turn and he just didn't attack. So, generally I'm not a fan of conceding. You play until the end of the game. But when your opponent just is toying with you, then there's no point in giving him the pleasure. It's not really worth it. I'm sure that he wasn't actually toying with me. He probably just didn't realize that he could kill me that turn. He didn't look like a very experienced player to me. But at the same time, he played that game pretty well up until that point where he could have just killed me. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the deck build. It's a little bit different if you want a taste of something different. I'm pretty sure that this build is not optimized. You can make it better in certain ways. I'm not exactly sure how, but just based on the fact that there are not that many ridiculous things in it, and I don't know. I just definitely think that there's a way. And you know what? I am just about to complain about something, since look at this deck. Do you see this symbol? This is the mythic rare symbol. It's sorted in rarity. This is the only mythic rare in the deck. It's got a couple of rares in it, but like then you go to a deck like Chant of the Moldiah, and you got 1, 2, that's not it, 3, 4, 5, wait, there's definitely more, 6, 7. So you've got 7 mythic rares in this deck. And well, I mean, rarity is not the only determinant of power level. It definitely is a part of it, so it's kind of stupid that they gave this deck 7 rares and a deck like Firewave to 1. I mean, I'm just bitter that this deck is so bad. I mean, it has the groundworks of being a really powerful deck, like with Grim Lavamancers, and they only gave 2 Pillar Flames or whatever, and one instant speed or 2 or 3 instant speed removal spells. That's ridiculous. This deck, I mean, if you can give the Illusions deck 4 Lord of the Unreal and 4 Phantasmal Image, you can give this deck 4 Pillar of Flames. I mean, I don't see what the issue would be, or a couple more than 1 Flame Slash, or more than 1 Searing Spear for that matter. So I don't know. This deck is really bad, and I mean, no matter how you run it, it's not going to be great. You can play with it and make it a decent deck if you had, like, obviously the powerful cards like Sulfuric Vortex, Flame Break, the 1 sweeper that they gave you. I mean, yeah, it's definitely a decent deck, and it's not bad, but just the fact that the power level of these cards is not as good as something like Chant makes it a lot worse and a lot harder to win. But anyway, this was my attempt at a different way to run Firewave, which I thought was going to be really cool, but ended up being kind of lame. At least I did get a win pretty quickly, though it didn't really showcase. I mean, there have been a bunch of games where my opponents just tap out when they're at like 18, and I just play Final Fortune, attack for 6, and then take my next turn, attack for 6, Relentless Assault, attack for 6, game. And they just die out of nowhere, and they're like, what just happened? How did that just happen? But yeah, anyway, I'm really excited for the Guardians of Light one. Maybe Deadwalkers will be fun. And I mean, there's a couple others. The thing is, for Masks of Dimir, the deck build that I showed you was already a little bit unorthodox. I can definitely try something with Sliverhive. And Chant, some people just wanted me to show like a non-Eldrazi version, but this deck basically already is the non-Eldrazi version for me. I mean, the only Eldrazi cards I have in are Artisan and All Is Dust. When I take out Eye of Ujin and I still have these 2 Primeval Titans in the deck, then you know that it is definitely not the Eldrazi version, because why would you not play Eye of Ujin in a deck with Eldrazi's in it? But since there's only 1, it's not really worth running. I think I actually want to toss that last Oracle in there somewhere. Dramatic Entrance is a card they put in more recently, and I mean, it's a 5 mana spell that gives you card disadvantage, gives you basically just mana for 1 turn. But the thing is, there's like, everything is 7 in this version of the deck. I mean, there's this 9 and there's this 8, but for the most part, you can just wait 1 more turn to cast your spell. So I don't know how worth it that is. Eldrazi Conscription is pretty sick, especially you can toss on like an Oracle of Moldiah and it just becomes insane. But I don't know, not the point of this deck build. We're done here. I've talked for way too long, way more than I should have, and way more than this video should have been about. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed anyway, and have a wonderful day. Bye.